Social media is filled with fake people. Y'all gotta understand this, right? When you see social media, never get caught up in the hype. Never get caught up in how another person's image appears online, right? Because this is people's main problem nowadays, is perception. People, they go on social media, they see all these people taking all these pictures, they see all these people going on vacation every minute, they see all these people flashing money, they see all these guys with all these different girls around them. You got girls who are doing stuff now on social media called thirst trapping and all these different things, right? Showing off their body for views, for likes, for attention, right? Never get caught up in the hype, because with social media is filled with fake people. You got a lot of people stunting on social media. You got a lot of people on social media who are trying to portray an image that a lot of times they not really like. For example, you got people on social media, right? They'll take all these pictures of them flashing money. They'll take all these pictures of them flashing money, of them with all the girls and all that, right? You got these guys who have all these different girls around them. But understand this. Sometimes that money is not even theirs. I've seen news stories where people, they went and they robbed somebody for their money. Robbed somebody for their jewelry. Then afterwards post it on social media, over flexing, showing off to a camera, like it's really theirs, when they had to take it from another person. I've seen people on social media, right? They got all these expensive cars every minute. One minute they wear a Bugatti. Next minute they wear a BMW. Next minute they with their Mercedes. Next minute they with the Lexus, right? So for a person who's looking from the outside, I should say, they'll be looking in and say, wow, that person winning. They got the cars, they got the Mercedes one day, they got the BMW, they got the Lexus next day. They must have a bunch of money. Not realizing that person you're looking at, they probably renting cars. They probably got those cars, they renting them. You know, they probably doing a 2-day rental, a 3-day rental, right? So in your mind, you'll be thinking like, wow, this person got all this money. They got cars every minute. When you don't even realize that this person renting cars. And not only are they renting cars, but they might not even be really keeping up with it. They renting all these cars going broke. Shorting their light bill. Shorting their gas bill. Short and paying their rent, their mortgage. Just to put on the perception for social media. Understand this, y'all. Social media, never get caught up in the hype. Because what appears on the outside is not always what happens on the inside. Like, for example, you got this popular news story going around, right? There was this influencer. She and her husband, they went to a country in Africa. I can't remember what country it is, right? And she was trying to big him up based on his race. Trying to say that he better because, you know, he a certain race, that he better than another race of man, right? And then, unfortunately, she ends up losing her life over there. But you see, from the average person looking outside, they're like, wow, she over talk about this race of man is better. She talk about she will only date this type of guy. And look what happens. We find out what happens on the inside. She ends up passing away. Some people say she took herself out. Some people say the husband did it. But regardless, though, whichever theory you want to go with, it shows that she was not really happy in the relationship. It shows that the relationship was not where it cracked out, what it seemed in the end, right? She was trying to put on an image. But in the end, whichever theory is correct, whether he took her out or she took herself out, it shows that relationship was not really true happiness. So understand this, y'all. Never get caught up on social media. Because social media will have you believe in something. That's a lie. Have you looking at people. You got people looking at people's social media. Jealous. Angry. Frustrated. Because that person, wow, they got all that money. Wow, they got all that fame. Wow, they got the expensive cars every minute. And you don't even know how this person is living. They could be robbing people for that stuff. They could be trying to sell their body. Look, you got people doing OnlyFans nowadays. We see how popular that is. You got girls doing OnlyFans. Selling their bodies for money. And some of them becoming millionaires and making 6 figures because, unfortunately, you got a lot of thirsty men, especially, and women, who will pay for that type of stuff. And not even just women doing it. I heard about some men doing OnlyFans too. Imagine that. A person selling pictures of their body making money. Like, that's why I said you cannot really look at what a person, because you even know what they're doing. You even know what they're doing to earn cash. You got people selling their body, prostitution, all that, just to earn cash. That's why I said before in numerous videos, never be jealous of another person. Never be envious of another person, because you don't know how that person's living. You don't know how that person's getting their cash. You don't know what that person's doing to obtain the success. You know, you got people who bite other people's talent. They'll see one person make another video, right? Then they go and copy that same exact person's video. Copy how they speak. Copy how they talk. Then try to rebrand it like that's the original. Not even giving credit to the original person. I had that happen to me one time. I remember I posted something on the Substack app. For y'all who know about Substack, you know, it's an app where you could, you know, post notes and all that. And I seen somebody, they tried to take the same note I posted. They tried to take the same exact words I said. And then they put it in their post. And I even called it out. I was like, this person just straight up jacked everything that I said. They just straight up just copied everything I said, basically word for word. You see? Social media got a lot of fake people. That's why you can't get caught up in the hype. The only thing that'll give you true joy is you following God's will and you stay focused on your purpose. Whatever God called you to do. If He called you to build that business, you go build that business. You don't need to imitate or look up to another person. You stay focused what God calling you to do. You don't look at another person's marriage and social media and say, man, I wish that was me. I wish that was my spouse. Because they might not even be happy. They might fight every day. They might have arguments. And they might even, God forbid, physically abuse one another. Never be jealous or envious because you see somebody with more money than you. You got some people on social media, they flashing all these $100 bills, right? Got a bunch of hundreds in their hands. You don't know how that person got it, like I said. They could be selling their body. Now, which respective a person would sell their body? You understand exactly what I'm saying, right? Which respective a person would do OnlyFans? That's why I said never get caught up in the hype. Never get caught up in how someone else is, because you don't know how they're truly living. You got people who are living in deep sin every day. You got people who are living in rebellion to God, and you looking up to Him. You jealous of them. Never be jealous of someone who could be breaking the commandments of the Most High God, because God's going to be the only thing that gives you peace in this life. That's why you see all these social media stars, right? They can have all the money, have all the house and the cars, and still be frustrated, still be angry, still be depressed, you know, still be bitter, because that does not give you happiness. It's nice to have success. It's nice to have blessings. Don't get me wrong, yo. But never get caught up in the hype behind. Never be jealous or envious of another person. Always be focused on what God's calling you to do. Go after your own success. Go after success. Go after the vision and plan that God gave you. That's what you go after. Never be jealous of what another person got going on, because, like I said, you don't even know how they obtained it. You don't know what they did to get it. You got a lot of people to where they jealous of another person because they got this and that. Never do that, because you don't even know what that person goes through. You got people who got money who are depressed, and yet you envy them. You jealous of them. Look how many stories we've seen up there in Hollywood. Millionaire got all this money. They take themselves out. They go through drug abuse, alcohol abuse. You'll come in Hollywood stars we've seen talk about how they went through depression, anxiety, and all that. That just shows you. Like I said, stay focused where God's taking you. Stay focused on following God's will, because that's going to be the only thing that gives you peace. It's not you looking up and you envy another person, you being jealous of another person. No. Stay focused on God's plan for your life, because you don't know what people got going on. You'll see people all these happy with these marriages online, smiling. Then sometimes the man depressed, the woman depressed. You see all these people flashing money, and yet they feel empty on the inside. That's why they got to flash out that money to put on the image of the world like they balling. But sometimes they empty on the inside. Sometimes they depressed. They feel lonely. You know, that's what I said. Social media could be filled with a lot of fake people. You got people who be taking pictures like they going on vacation every minute. And then they might be doing that because they probably feel dead on the inside. That might be the only thing that gives them peace. And it's a temporary peace too. You got people, I seen a funny video one time. If this person had like a funny virtual background in the back. Like the virtual background makes them look like they going on vacation different places. But really they in the same room. They just have a virtual background in the back to make it look like it's a different setting. So you see, you cannot always be caught up in what people are doing, because you don't know what the context of that picture means. You got people to where you can even see on social media sometimes. Their face is smiling, but their eyes, you sometimes see sadness. You sometimes see anger. Always stay focused on what God's calling you to. Always stay focused on your God-given purpose. Because social media is filled with a lot of fake people. It's filled with a lot of people who are putting on the image that they're not reliving.